And it's a very good morning to the Gelding. We don't have the rain that they've got in Sydney just as well. Heavy 10 at Randwick.
Good morning, Professor. Good morning, listeners. Yes, Professor, some doubt about this meeting, whether they'll actually get through it with the amount of rain that's actually tipped for Sydney today. Look, normally, Professor, 4 Group 1s, we would have been betting in Sydney, I would have thought, rather than Caulfield. But with this rain and the heavy 10, we're following one of your theories. So we're staying away from Sydney. So, yeah, look, hopefully they get through the meeting. The 2 Joe Smith, first day of the championships, 4 Group 1s, the Derby, the Doncaster, as good a day as racing. Probably their best day of racing in Sydney's Golden Slipper Day. They may say the Everest, but I would say it's Golden Slipper Day, and this day's not far behind it, Professor.
Exactly right, Gelding. But racing's at Caulfield today, 10 race card, 2 Group 3s open for decision, Gelding. The first race at 12:10, the last at 5:35. The feature race, in my opinion, Gelding, the Group 3 Easter Cup over 2,000 metres. The track's a soft 5. The rail is in the true position, Gelding.
Yes, Professor. Can you answer a question for me, Professor, without notice?
Yes, Gelding.
Why is the Easter Cup not run at Easter?
They looked at the calendar incorrectly, Gelding.
Did they? Yes, the Easter Cup used to be the second meeting on the Monday at Caulfield, but they've changed that to Sandown. So why couldn't they run the Easter Cup at Sandown, Professor? It's the same club, isn't it?
It is the same club, Gelding. It is the same club. You make a very good point. Why isn't the Easter Cup run it during Easter?
Anyway,
we've got a laundry list.
Club.
We've got a laundry list for the Melbourne Racing Club, Gelding, of questions that we'd like answered, but I don't think we'll get them. So I think probably the best bet today is why don't you tell us which 2 horses you like, and they're your best bets for Caulfield Racing today.
Well, Professor, I'm going later in the day. Soft 5 with a bit of natural rain around. The good thing about the natural rain coming earlier in the week, Professor, is that track staff didn't have to water it. And normally when they water it, sometimes they can overwater it and the track becomes a bit biased. So I'm hoping with just natural rain, the track is, just plays normal and gives every horse a chance, Professor. But as always with Caulfield, we'll be looking for horses on pace. So, look, my first bet is race 7, horse number 3, Sunsets. Professor, this horse trained by Trent Busserton and Natalie Young and John Allen, over a mile and a half. Professor, a listed race. Would have thought this horse's target this autumn would have been the AJC Derby up in Sydney, Professor, because remember Caulfield Cup Day, Sunsets beat a horse over 2,000 metres called Riff Rocket, which is today favourite for the Derby. So looking at the form, probably going back to last spring, for a horse capable of beating a horse that went on to win the Derby over 2,000, I think can win a listed race in the autumn. Over 2,400. Professor, its form first up, but will need to improve a little bit. But it's run 5th at Moonee Valley last start, only beaten 2.4 lengths over 2,000. So had a bit of shine. Before that, ran 14th in a Group 1, Professor. So I'm thinking hopefully this listed race over 2004, the Caulfield Cup distance will settle Sunsets, and you can get $4.20 at the moment, Professor. So it could be a nice each way bet. my second bet will probably be the bet that I like the most, Professor. First Immortal, race 9, horse 3, trained by Mark and Levi Kavanagh. This is a horse that they were trying to get into the Melbourne Cup last year, Professor. It's a 4-year-old gelding by Churchill. The Easter Cup over 2,000. Look at First Immortal's had 2 starts at this track for 2 wins, Professor. It's had 8 wins out of 16 starts. That's what we like. It won first up at Caulfield in a listed race over 1,600. I think it only gets better with a bit more distance. It has won second up, Professor, 2 times for 1 win. All these things go to me to say the First Immortal over 2,000 may be a good thing today at Caulfield. Race 9, number 2. Look, at the moment, Professor, you can get $2.80. So I think that will be a very good bet. So my 2 bets, Professor, race 7, horse 3, Sunsets, probably each way, and First Immortal, race 9, number 3. And you like?
Yeah, gelding, I'm going a little bit earlier than you are with the threat of rain. Race 4, the Burt Bryant handicap, 3-year-old open fillies race over 1,200 metres. In that race, gelding, I like number 5, Moesha, coming out of barrier 4. It's had 7 starts for 1 win and 3 placings, so a 14% win rate, a 57% place rate. It's in a weaker class in this race, gelding. 2 weeks ago, it ran second in a Group 3 at Moonee Valley, and it beat home today's top weight Inhibitions, and it races against Inhibitions 1 kilo better off. So if it beat at home last time, it should beat at home this time. It also beat home 2 other horses in this race, gelding, Material Dreams and Lazago. So beautiful. I think it should have most of the field covered. Linda Meach is in the saddle. She's in career form at the moment, riding at 16% over the last 50. And Moody and Coleman, our trainers, gelding, are in great form at the moment. 22%, if you don't mind, over their last 50.
I like it, Professor. And immaculately bred, this horse. 3-year-old filly by I'm Invincible, the leading sire, from Group 1 winning mare Princess Coupe. So fantastically bred, in very good hands with Moody and Coleman. And as you said, Professor, only beaten a length last start at Moonee Valley. So we'll like to see it at Caulfield. So, and you can get in some nice odds, Professor.
Yeah, I think so, gelding. I was particularly mindful of that when I was looking at the tips. You know, we like to give our viewers something to go. And at currently, gelding, it's showing you can get $5 fixed, $5 the win, $2 the place. So I'd grab that because I think it'll start shorter than that.
It's a good bet, Professor. A very good each way bet. You're
right,
basically
gelding.
Running, you get your money back.
Exactly right, gelding. Next selection's in race 5, the Bill Collins handicap, one of the greatest race callers of all time. The accurate one, gelding.
Yes, the very accurate one, Bill Collins. Yes. Bit of a legend in his own lifetime.
Exactly right,
gelding. Very interesting study of his life, Professor. We'd go to the races on Saturday, then call a trot Saturday night, and then was known to play a game of cards on a Saturday night after the trots, and then would apparently appear at World of Sport, and then get home Sunday night for tea. Go to work on Saturday, get home Sunday night.
Well, and then he became a variety performer, gelding, because not only did he host Sunny Side Up at one stage,
yes,
but then he stopped calling the trots, and he actually was behind the microphone in the Penthouse Club.
Yes, the Penthouse Club with Terry Hardy. Yes, very interesting. Very funny show on the Saturday night, Professor.
Yes,
when they go across to the showgrounds for the trots, the
yes,
Red Hots.
Yeah, exactly right, gelding. And when you had live variety performers, a show on Saturday night.
A song and dance band as well, Professor.
Exactly right, gelding. All right, and the Bill Collins handicap's a benchmark 70 over 1,400 metres, gelding. I like in this one, race 7, Furious. And gelding, you and I had some interesting discussions about what the bet of the day was, and Furious was in contention for being the bet of the day. It's coming out of barrier 9. Lightly raced gelding, 5 starts for 2 wins and 2 placings. So a 40% win rate, an 80% place rate. Stronger class racing today, gelding. It ran second in a 1,200 metre race at Caulfield 3 weeks ago. The winner of that race ran in a listed race at Flemington last week. So clearly it's in good company. It's won over the distance, gelding. I like that. Jai McNeil in the saddle. He's also in career form, gelding a 12% win rate over his last 50, and it's trained by the Hawkes brothers. So I think you can also get some good odds with this one too, gelding. Currently showing $3.60 and $1.65.
I like it, Professor. Redoubt's Choice gelding, 4-year-old trained by the Hawks. Only had 5 starts as a 4-year-old, so that's not many starts, and it's been sparingly raced, probably because of injury, Professor. But to have 2 wins and 2 seconds out of 5 starts, and have 80 grand in the bank already, you'd be fairly happy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think I would, gelding. I think I'd be very happy. So my 2 selections for today's racing: race 4, horse 5, Moesha, and race 5, horse 7, Furious. Now we get to the very, 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 very successful Professor's Parlay. I did some calculations, gelding. Since the start of the year, the Professor's Parlay is striking at 75%, if you don't mind.
Oh, Professor, if you're just backing horses and getting a win ratio of 3 out of 4, that is unheard of. And any tipping service would be writing rings about themselves saying they're getting a 75% win rate just on the horses alone. As we've said many times, if you're getting a 33% win rate, you're doing very, very well. Here we're getting 75%. Not only on the horses, Professor, but on your sports bets. That is just unheard of. So you need to pat yourself on the back, Professor, because that is just a sensational winning return rate for anyone that's having a wager and following our tips. And I would be expecting big bags of brown paper bags left at your front door, Professor.
Oh, we can wish, gelding. We can wish. All right.
Especially from, say, some family members, Professor.
We're living in hope, gelding. All right. Last week, Orchestral was the agreed bet of the day, and it saluted at Rose Hill. And we also loved the Western Bulldogs and Geelong's performance on the field. The Professor's win parlay paid 2-1, gelding. Very nice return. And the place parlay paid 3-2.
Professor, you haven't got a piece of paper. You've actually got paper money. You got money.
Exactly right, gelding. Okay, so the agreed bet of the day at Caulfield today is race 9, number 3, First Immortal. And let's parlay that into the North Queensland Cowboys to beat the Gold Coast Titans. North Queensland Cowboys having a pretty good start to the season, gelding. They've won 3 out of 4. They're 5th on the ladder, a plus 22 points differential, which is pretty good over 4 games. Gold Coast Titans, gelding. Stone motherless last, 17th in the competition. Haven't won a game, don't look like winning a game. Minus 72 points differential over 3 matches, gelding. That is not very good at all. And I think the coach might be in a bit of trouble there. He might be being shown the door very quickly.
Another Gold Coast sports team not performing.
And not performing in a terrible way, gelding. At least last year they had not so bad a season, but they sacked the coach. They brought in a new one, Des Hasler. I think Des Hasler's his best days might be behind him, gelding.
Professor. Sporting clubs don't seem to have much success up there on the Gold Coast, do they?
No.
In all types of sports, like not only rugby, and the footy, they're still to get in the 8, Gold Coast, but we've had soccer, basketball, fail up there. What else have we had up there, Professor?
Well, the first iteration of AFL failed, the Brisbane Bears.
Yes,
they were on the Gold Coast.
Yes,
you couldn't call the Brisbane Bears successful, gelding. They were terrible.
No, true indeed, Professor. So,
right.
yeah, all good. But I do like your tip of the Cowboys there, Professor.
Thank you, Gelding. The bookies are showing plus 16.5. So,
Wow.
yes. So, in excess of 3 converted tries. They're
That's a
expecting North
hiding in rugby
Queensland.
league.
Exactly right, Gelding. And let's parlay that into the NBA. We've had some success in the NBA, Gelding. The Boston Celtics, who are flying at the moment to beat the Sacramento Kings. Boston Celtics first in the Eastern Conference at the moment. They've won 60 of their 76 games, so they've got an excellent 79% win rate. Sacramento Kings, 8th in the West. They've only won 44 games out of their 76, so a far less 58% win rate, Gelding. Average points for, I like for the Boston Celtics, 121. That's a lot. They score a lot, Gelding.
Yep.
The Kings were beaten by the Knicks at the Madison Square Garden yesterday, so they're coming off a double header. So I'd expect the Boston Celtics to beat them quite handily. The bookies like it, plus 10.5. So that's a lot in basketball.
That's a lot in
Gelding.
basketball. Yeah.
It is. So it's race 9, horse 3, First Immortal into the North Queensland Cowboys to beat the Gold Coast Titans, into the Boston Celtics to beat the Sacramento Kings. The win parlay showing 7-2, Gelding. The place parlay showing the juicy odds of 2-1.
Oh, beautiful, Professor. Let's hope First Immortal can keep us in the running.
Exactly right, Gelding. All right, well, have some good punting today, Gelding. And as we say every Saturday